Today we're going to be taking a look at the Super Spring SumoSprings line of trailer helper springs. Now here you can see our helper springs installed. Once our trailer is down on the ground, these are going to make contact right there at the bottom of the frame. So whether our trailer is completely unloaded or fully loaded, we're going to get a lot of great benefits. These are designed to be compressed. As you can see, they're kind of flexible there, made of a microcellular urethane. And when the trailer comes down, it's just going to have a little bit of help on the lighter loads. But the more and more that we compress this, so as our load gets heavier, we're going to get a firmer and firmer feel from our spring. So it's going to work across all load levels for us. It's going to give us about 1,000 pounds worth of support when compressed 50%. So you can imagine that's going to take a lot of weight off of our trailer setup. I think these are going to be really good at helping to extend the life of our springs, smoothing out our ride as we travel with our trailer, and overall you'll see a lot of good benefits out of them. Now the microcellular urethane is essentially a foam that's closed-celled. So as we're traveling down the road, UV rays, salt, dirt, different things like that aren't going to get inside and cause us any kind of issues. Whether it's really cold outside or really hot outside, we're going to get the same performance. And since it is a closed cell material, these should last the life of your trailer. Another nice thing about this setup is if your trailer is unevenly loaded, these are going to work independently of one another. We have one on the passenger, one on the driver, so even if we have more weight on the driver, it's going to do a little bit more work. More weight on the passenger, it's going to do a little bit more work. Now, as we said before, the top of the spring is going to make contact with the bottom frame of your trailer at all times. So that being said, not only do these help to support the weight and take a lot of that stress and strain off of your suspension, they're also going to act like shock absorbers. So our trailer is going to be more quiet and it's going to be a much smoother ride. We're not going to have all the bouncing that we're used to. And overall, you're just going to have a better trailering experience. Now let's take our trailer through our bumps course. We're going to do a before and after. You can see before there's a lot of excess movement in that suspension system that we really don't need. That leads to increased felt movement inside of your vehicle and also a lot more noise. After we have the system installed, it's much quieter inside the truck, and you'll notice there's a lot less of the bouncing up and down motion. We've only got about 800 pounds or so on the trailer, so we certainly don't have them fully compressed, but you can already tell there's a big difference in the way the trailer performs. Now, one thing to keep in mind, while these are a really nice addition to your trailer, they are not going to increase its capacity. The trailer's capacity is its capacity. We do not want to exceed that. These just help give us an improvement in the experience we get while using the trailer. Now in this configuration, this is what we call an overslung axle. So our axle is slung over the spring. This is the overslung axle kit. Now for the underslung axle, all of this will be reversed. So this portion, this flat portion, the ends of our U-bolts will be up here. This is just going to sit right down on top of it. Then we've got the U-bolts that are hooks. They go in these holes right here. And basically we're going to pinch this plate. And so this will grab the bottom of that plate, and then as we tighten it down, it's going to hold the spring down. So really easy installation whether you've got the overslung or the underslung. Now you'll also notice that there's a line relocation bracket sold with the kit. Now here's a good example of where you're going to need a line relocation kit. You can see this is our gas line. It's up and out of the way. It's in an okay area. But we have our brake wires that run right here, and they're attached to the bottom of the frame. That Sumo Spring kit is going to be resting right here, and we certainly don't want this to get pinched to where it might cause our brakes to fail. So with that relocation kit, we're able to bring it out further from the frame of the trailer, giving our Sumo Spring a good area to make contact. Now, once we get everything installed, as we lower our trailer, we want to keep an eye on the top of our springs. We want to make sure we have that preload set properly. So just about a half of an inch before our trailer is fully lowered, we want to make sure that these make contact with the bottom of that frame. If it doesn't, add in an extra spacer. Now you can see with our trailer resting on the ground, We've got our preload set, and it's going to be ready for use. Now, one thing to keep in mind, this system is designed to improve your trailer. It's not designed to fix a broken or damaged suspension system. So you want to have your suspension in good shape and add this kit to get the benefits. Now, before you begin your installation, we need to get a quick measurement. And basically, we're going to do this with our trailer sitting on the ground. It's just a lot easier for us to see when I get it up in the air like this. So we'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to take our bracket, we're going to place it over top of our spring right here. The rounded tab should be up and down. The square tab should be horizontal or kind of in a straight line. And now we're going to lower the trailer down, we're going to get the weight put back on it, and we need to measure the distance from the top of our bracket to the bottom of our frame right here. That's going to give us the number we'll use to determine how many spacers we want to have in our setup. Now, with the tandem trailer setup like we're going to do here, I'm going to measure the back and the front just to see if there's any difference. Of course, on a single, you're not going to have to worry about that. On a triple axle, I just double check, make sure that there's not a small variation from front to back so we can get maximum potential out of our setup. Now we're going to take our spacers. The measurement I got when it was on the ground was 4 3/4 inch from the top of my bracket to the bottom of my trailer. That means I need to be at 5 or 5 1/4. We want 1/4 to 1/2 inch of compression in our spring in just a normal setting. So the way we're going to set it up, looks like that's going to be right at 5 1/4. So that's going to be ideal for our setup. Just make sure you get yours right. All right, now we can get our assembly put together. You're going to have 2 8mm bolts. One's a little bit longer, one's a little bit shorter. Since we're using all of the spacers, we're going to go with the longer one. And you'll see the hole right down there. We'll drop our bolt through just like that. Now we want that to come down through our spacers. So you got a little bit of it sticking out there at the end. We'll line that up with the hole in the middle of our Sumo spring there. When you do that, a little bit of blue Loctite, which is included, we're going to put on there. We'll get that threaded in. Then we're just gonna get everything lined up. You can see our spacers. Just want to get them square as possible. We'll tighten that down. All right, at that point, it's ready to go in position. We're going to take our longer U-bolt in this case. It's going to come around the front of the spring. You see those U-bolts that hold the spring in place there. And we want the back side to come out right through that tab. Flat washer is going to go on, and a nylon lock nut. Let's do that on both sides. And here on the bottom, we're going to use the shorter U-bolt. Come up and in, and the same thing there. Flat washer, nylon lock nut on both sides. We'll use our 13mm. We'll get our U-bolts tightened down. I'm going to tighten this one up first so that pulls it up against the spring. Then we'll tighten this one. We want to tighten these evenly, and it does not take a lot of torque. The biggest thing is you just don't want to bend the U-bolt. There's a point as you tighten it down, it wants to start to bend. Just stop. All the force is going to be pushing this down and on. There's nothing pulling against it. And that's really all there is to the installation. We're done with this side. At this point, we're going to go over to the other side and do the same thing there. 2 of these springs come in each kit, so you want to ensure that you get 1 kit per axle you're going to be working on. And that's going to complete our look at the Super Springs line of Sumo Spring trailer helper springs.